So recently I came across this article from Polygon talking about the fact that Animal Crossing has managed to outsell Breath of the Wild in only a couple months. Like if you go into it, basically Breath of the Wild, which came out in 2017, sold 18.6 million copies currently, while Animal Crossing, having come out in March, has managed to sell 22.4 and is now the second most popular Nintendo Switch game ever, behind Mario Kart. Which makes sense, that's like an essential game. But like, that's kind of insane. Like, Breath of the Wild was seen as this amazing game that was a system seller for the Nintendo Switch, and now we have Animal Crossing managing to outsell it in like 5 months. So I kind of wanted to make a video to kind of get into why I think that is and why I think it's come out kind of at a perfect time, and the effects that has had, including the fact that Nintendo Switches are like being sold out everywhere and are extremely expensive to get. Something I can say is that I've seen it firsthand. Like literally, I've had tons of my friends buying Nintendo Switches and Animal Crossing over the last couple months and trying to find them because they're sold out everywhere. And so clearly something's going on, and I kind of want to go into it a little bit and maybe sell you on Animal Crossing and continue to make it hard for people to find Nintendo Switches by adding you to the problem. So let's get into it. Okay, so it all started in the year 2020. So the quarantine started, and I think it really started to like actually genuinely hit us around March. Like early March for me was when my college classes started getting like completely shut down and moved to online instead of going in class. Because originally it was kind of like you heard about the coronavirus, but it was something that wasn't in your neighborhood. And then suddenly everyone was freaked out about it, and they're like, oh crap, it could literally be in any neighborhood. We need to actually shut stuff down. So everybody was getting their classes canceled. People were taking time off of work or just quitting their jobs straight out and filing for unemployment. Everybody is staying at home and has absolutely nothing to do now because they can't go hang out with their friends. Literally, they have to find things to either do inside or go on social distance walks. And that's basically it. Now, because of this, different things like Discord started surging, because now you need a way to continue to contact your friends since you don't see them in class or you don't get to go out and hang out with them. So things like Discord flat out actually ended up changing their slogan from being about gaming to just chat in general, because it started being used for classrooms and for just basic communication between people, not just for a platform to talk while you play games or creating gaming communities. I mean, you could literally use Discord streaming to watch AGT and talk about how good or bad the performances are, or about how this one person only got through because they had a really good sob story and not because they had any actually good talent. It was great. So during the midst of this coronavirus and staying home, suddenly a video game came out, a kind of popular video game called Doom Eternal, and it was really good. It was like very fun gameplay, very polished, just extremely good, fun, well-made single-player shooter, in which case you can take out a lot of the stress that you have from the coronavirus on demons by tearing them apart, rip and tear, and such. But besides that, there's another game that came out on the exact same day, and that was Animal Crossing New Horizons. Now this game has sold incredibly well and sold probably even more Switches than other exclusives. I don't know if that's actually true, but it's definitely lined up very well. So let's get into why. First off, it already is a part of a popular series. Maybe not as well known as something like Call of Duty or Halo or something, but it is a well-known series that's had several games in it, like been on the DS, on the Wii, it's been on several different platforms, and it kind of is a staple of Nintendo games, just like Mario and such. So when it came out, there were already going to be a lot of fans that had been waiting, and this game had been delayed a couple of times, I believe. Let me double check this. Animal Crossing New Horizons had how many delays? It might have only had one. Yeah, I think it was just one. Oh my goodness, I'm being spammed with Discord notifications. Send help. So already there's people buying it and talking about how good it is and posting things about it on Twitter and everything. And then other people are now seeing all of these things, thinking about how bored they are, and something happened there. So the game actually has a lot working towards it. For instance, the game is just, in general, extremely accessible. Like, this is a game that I could very easily recommend to my mom or my sister or my grandparents, because it's very lighthearted, very family friendly, very simple. Like, it seems like it's trying to get all audiences and be accessible to everybody. The controls and the gameplay in general are extremely simple. It's like press A to interact, press Y to pick up things. Nothing is extremely time sensitive. I mean, obviously, like, the fishing minigame might be a little time sensitive, like a little bit of good timing, but even that isn't too complicated. For the most part, you can go at your own pace as you're playing the game and take your time to learn everything and just do everything at your own pace. There's no rush, there's no, like with Doom Eternal, you have to like be on top of things, you have to know exactly where to shoot, you have to be constantly on the move, you have to use your chainsaw at the right time before you run out of ammo, you have to use this weapon for this enemy, you constantly have a ton of things going on, and it is very much skill based, while I feel like with Animal Crossing, you could take as much time as you need and just focus on the actual action you're doing and not have to necessarily have like mastered skills to be good at it. Can we take a quick break to talk about how clunky as fuck the controls are sometimes though? Like, hey, I just really want to dig this fossil, but for some reason I keep managing to completely miss the fossil and dig a hole next to it, so then I have to cover up that hole and then try to reposition myself so that I can actually dig the fossil, but then I miss again, so I create a new hole, so then I have to go and cover that hole back up and then reposition myself again and hope to God that the sort of auto-aim that it has actually gets the fossil. Or I just very recently unlocked the ability to make paths. So can we talk about how awful those controls are? Just place one path at a time, really nice and slow and steady. And then if you haven't moved up forward enough, then instead of placing another path, you'll accidentally just add a curve to the path that you already placed down, which then means that you have to press the button again to get rid of the path, and then you have to press the button again to replace the path, and then you have to make sure that you move forward enough so that you actually place a new path instead of accidentally making it a curve again. Okay, but besides this little clunky things here and there, like, very simple controls. So the game also has online multiplayer, and the ability to, like, visit your friends' islands and get to see exactly how they built their island, get to trade items with them, sell your fruits on their island for more money. There's very much like this sense of both an advantage, because I mean you're making more money selling at other people's islands, but it's also just really cool to be able to be like, hey friends, look at this awesome thing that I did on my island, like look at this design that I did, and it's completely unique to me and different than yours. Like, my native fruits are different than your native fruits, my native flowers are different than yours, I have different villagers, I have different placement of everything. Like, it's cool to be able to have your completely own unique island and then be able to show it off to your friends and visit theirs and see what theirs is like. So you already have a ton of people who love the game and were excited for it to come out, showing off their island, showing off the fact that you can have your own completely unique one. You are stuck at home with absolutely nothing to do, not able to go see your friends, just bored out of your mind. And suddenly you find this game where you're like, wait, I could make my own unique island, visit my friends, I'll have something to constantly work on every day, and it's simple, very accessible. I'm not gonna lie, you're kind of selling me on this. Plus then, when you consider the fact that the Nintendo Switch is only $300, making it the cheapest home console on the market right now, that's a pretty good proposition. I mean, you could get a Nintendo Switch, and now you can also get your Mario Karts and your Mario Parties and your Zelda Breath of the Wild and your Smash. Like, your friends kept talking about that. And Switch is only $300, and I'll be able to take games on the go even and just sit in bed in quarantine. Plus, just the whole setup is kind of really good, because it's like you're just on an island getaway. You're starting a new life on an island away from everything with 2 other villagers, and then from there you continue to grow this island and make it your own. And it's like, just, it's a getaway. Like, even just playing it feels like a getaway from quarantine and this boring life that you are currently living because of it, it feels like you are finally getting away from everything. And the game is really designed to be a time sink, which is extremely useful in a time where you have way too much time on your hands. Like, just being able to have a game that you can constantly put quite a few hours into every day. Like, even if you need to wait a real life day because a bridge is being built or you upgraded your house or whatever and you decide you're not going to cheat by moving your console's time ahead, there's still plenty to do every single day. And a lot of times there will be days where there's even more stuff to do. Like, there's always, every day there's fossils, there's fruits, there's different things to fish, there's new items every month, sometimes special events. They continue to update it and add new things, like they added swimming or firework events, or like there's constant new stuff to do every single day. There's constant money to be made so that you can continue to make your island better, which will then give you access to more expensive things that need more fish to sell to get. So this is a game that can constantly take some time out of your day to feel productive. Like, you feel like you're actually doing something every single day instead of just being stuck at home. It's like, well, hey, I am constantly upgrading my island. I just got a new upgrade to my house and now I can go and decorate that. I just got the ability to make paths, so I'm gonna path my entire island and now it looks super nice. Hey, I just grew an entire garden. Like, you constantly are making upgrades and you feel like you're really doing something, and you can see it and then show it off to all your other friends who are playing Animal Crossing because you're all in quarantine. I know Doom Eternal was also a pretty good quarantine game, like that ended up selling really well because everyone's at home looking for something to do, and then the Doom Eternal comes out and everyone's like, yeah, alright, like, I'll buy this. I mean, I was able to splash on a lot more games because of the fact that I was staying home and I didn't have to spend my money on gas to get to college, so I mean, I was willing to buy these games. I bought Doom Eternal, I bought Animal Crossing for the same reasons, because my friends were getting Animal Crossing, and I really wanted to join them and play this quarantine game and feel productive and have a good time sink. Like, it looks like a world that I wanted to join into. And it is really funny to just see how many people I've heard afterwards, like, talking about how they're like, you know what? I'm gonna get a Switch. Like, now that we've been in quarantine for a couple months, I'm getting a Switch, I'm gonna get Animal Crossing, I'm gonna start my own island. Like, I've heard that a lot, and I've heard also about the struggles of getting one, because they're sold out, or people getting used ones, or people settling on a Switch Lite because they couldn't find a regular Switch. And it's really kind of been cool, though, to have tons of people on one game and being able to be like, hey, show me your island, or hey, I'm gonna show you mine, and being able to have a lot of people to do that with. Like, it's kind of a cool community thing that I haven't really had with a game in a while, because sure, I have played games with my friends, but it'll be like 1 or 2 of them or 3 of them, not as many as this. Like, I literally had college friends who had the game, who I got to play with and kind of stay in touch with, even though we didn't play games normally, or have my relatives get a Switch, or people that didn't even play games before get a Switch and be able to go to their islands and stuff. Like, that is really cool to me, and that's something that I haven't gotten to experience outside of this quarantine in a long time. And if you have a lot of friends or family that have Animal Crossing and you've been kind of on the fence on it, I would say the Nintendo Switch is a really good console, especially for staying connected. Like, even once this quarantine's over, games like Mario Party and Mario Kart, and the console itself letting you basically split your controller in half and give it to someone, it makes games, the Switch is really good for staying connected. It has tons of games that support local multiplayer. It has very easy to bring to someone's house. You have just this tiny dock, or you could just bring the Switch itself. And Animal Crossing is just this really good getaway that is extremely cute and just puts a smile on your face, and I can't help but recommend that. So, good luck on finding a Switch. Hopefully they come back in stock soon and the Joy-Cons get cheaper. Hopefully you manage to get a Switch that doesn't have drift, because I know a couple of my friends definitely have issues with that, and they're waiting for me to die so they can steal my Joy-Cons. And have a good day. Hopefully quarantine is going pretty good for you.